But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making the time to be with us this morning as I welcome my next guest. And now, this guest, as well as a business partner, have been actually making strides in not only expanding the local workforce in terms of the garment industry, but also creating opportunities for women who are at risk, particularly in garment construction. Now, that individual is a familiar name, a familiar face, whom we haven't heard of in quite some time. So it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Ms. Anya Youngchi is with us. Hello there, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Ms. Youngchi, tell me a bit about Spool. Apart from my introduction, which was rather brief, please expand on what I've said already.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me and for giving us the opportunity to share more about this initiative. So, as you said, it's called Spool. We are located in Woodbrook at the moment, and it is a women's livelihood initiative. It is powered by the IDB and USAID, and we are doing work to, as you rightly said, prepare women who are at risk from both the Venezuelan migrant community and the local population to produce for both the fashion and carnival industries, by giving them training in production and the variety of skills that are required to participate in the industry from an employment standpoint, both as independent seamstresses or if they desire to secure actual work in the industry in the variety of ways that the industry can support.
Precisely how was the idea or the organization itself, Spool, created? What is it founded upon?
Well, my co-founder is Hassani Watley, who is also co-founder of Caesar's Army, as most people know, a very successful carnival entertainment and events company. And so between the two of us, we have an interest, me, of course, in fashion as well as carnival, but Hassani even more so in carnival, to see the manufacturing and the skills of the industries, both of them remain in Trinidad, in this region. So we both have this shared vision of stabilizing and increasing and strengthening those channels. And then for me personally, that was a collective of creatives producing campaigns around social issues that affect the region. One of those campaigns was called Leave She Alone. It did extremely well in that period of time, and it was an anti-gender-based violence campaign. So out of that experience and learning more and more about the issues that plague both men and women when it comes to gender-based violence, but particularly for me, recognizing that one of the ways to tangibly support women who find themselves in these vulnerable situations is to support their independent financial situation. So I brought together both my desire to see come to an end, as well as my experience in fashion. I was hoping and theorizing that this approach would work, but we are actually seeing how giving women tangible, viable skills in an industry that this country actually needs is sort of a dovetailing of a lot of different needs at once.
But does this expand beyond Carnival? Because I know a lot has been focused on the production, garment production and construction for Carnival in particular. But Carnival is temporary. It's just about 3-4 months of the year. What about the other 8 months?
Well, like I said, it's not just Carnival, it's fashion and Carnival. So, fashion design and the need for clothing in general, that's why we refer to it as garment construction, is needed perennially. That being said, I'm sure you know by now that the need for production and design from this particular country for the rest of the region, as well as the carnivals that have evolved and grown even more over the last 10 years or so in the diaspora, a lot of it centers in Trinidad still. And so we are seeing that the designers and the producers are being asked to produce and design ongoing throughout the year. So both the fashion and carnival industries are perennial, and so we see that we have a production services division as well of the coin.
Mm-hmm. You're fusing fashion, you're fusing carnival, you're fusing entertainment with social activism, which is quite amazing. But apart from that level of activism, you're also bringing women of two nations together. Was that intentional, Venezuelan migrant women and Trinidadian women? Okay, I think we've lost Miss Ayangchi there. We were getting some connectivity issues during the course of the interview. Are you back with us?
I am. Are you seeing me?
I can hear you. I can see you. All right. Okay. Wonderful. So as I was asking, you are fusing social activism with the fashion industry, but you've also broken down barriers and borders by bringing Venezuelan migrant women and Trinidadian women together. Has that also had some effect on the training program?
It has, naturally, and the IDB grant that we are working with is an integration program. So it was designed intentionally to bring both Venezuelan population and the local population together in a way that is intentionally to help expose one another to different forms of culture and perhaps break down certain barriers of perception that we tend to have when you are introduced to new cultures, both ways. So the host community being ours, of course, the Venezuelan migrant population being here, hoping to find work, but also wanting to feel welcomed and safe. And so 100% I can say that has been the outcome of this activity. And we are now onto our third cohort of practitioners, participants. We are going to be at 75 people trained by next year, and 70% of those participants are of Venezuelan descent and 30 are of Trinidadian descent. And so we have had the feedback already that this has been working, and there's been quite a large amount of just community building that is at the heart of the work as well.
It's quite amazing that by next year you'd have 75 graduates from the program. But before I get into what the program actually entails, do you have any success stories from any of the graduates?
We really do. We have one lady who is of Venezuelan descent who started off without any experience in this industry whatsoever. A lot of these women come here with highly skilled in many other parts of their career that are not applicable to their life in Trinidad. So they're starting from scratch, which is very impressive to start with. But she in particular went through the first 2 levels of the program and is already now selling her products in marketplaces. She is designing and creating a junior Kiddies Carnival band for next year. She is an independent entrepreneur. And it went from in April having no experience whatsoever to by September already having a business or several businesses, which I just think is incredible. We have a local participant who did have experience, but for whatever reason in her life, veered away from this work, and coming into the program has breathed an entire new, I guess, breath of life into her to really take on a profession that she's always wanted to. And I mean, in her testimonial to us, she has literally said, this program has changed the trajectory of her life. And we didn't set out to do life-changing work. But I guess, when you show up for people in ways that maybe they may not expect, and you provide opportunities that are very tangible, mixed with this very specific, intentional community building aspects, it can have these ripple effects that you can't even begin to imagine you were going to have.
Certainly. But to the other question at hand, which is the actual program itself, how long is the program? And in fact, what does that program actually entail?
Sure. Well, the IDB aspect of this particular project will come to a close in June of 2024, by which time we would have fulfilled on the milestones that were, specific to that program. The program, as it currently exists, as you asked, it contains both garment construction and carnival construction skills training, as well as some entrepreneurial exposure to entrepreneurial practice in this particular industry, English language training, obviously for those who did not start off speaking English, which is part of the integration model as well. And from the point that the graduation happens, there is some measure of job placement and opportunity to achieve a certain level of sustainable livelihood, depending again on where in the industry you fit. So that part is just kicking off, and like I mentioned, part of that is that school itself has a production services division, and so we are producing for clients that span from independent designers to more mainstream garment clients to carnival designers. So we have started placing some of our graduates into the production services division so that the employment is actually immediate, and that is happening already.
Well, there is an opinion that exists that the industry here in Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be the carnival or fashion industry, is not necessarily thriving. But what does this speak to the future of Spool? Sorry, my apologies. Even with the IDP funding coming to an end in June 2024, are there plans to further Spool, expand upon Spool? I think we've lost you again.
Sorry, again, are you hearing me?
What are the plans?
I'm here. Are you hearing?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I hope that you can hear me. In terms of the future of Spool, as I mentioned, there are thoughts already expressed that the industry here in TNT, whether it be fashion or carnival, is dying. But as you said, the opportunities for women being created just through participating in this program could create some level of an economic shift. But beyond that, what about the future of Spool? Are there plans to expand, plans to further this program? Whoops.
Well, our plans, we will, and so...
I'm so sorry, Mr. Youngshi. Could you no, it's fine, it's fine.
Sure.
Could you
do about this?
Restart with your response?
Are you hearing me?
Yes. Could you just start over your response, please? All right. Okay. It seems as though the connectivity is not so great this morning. A number of factors, a number of reasons, I suppose. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take.
Is that any better?
Well, there you go. I don't have to take that break. You're back with us. In regards to Spool, plans to expand and build upon?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'll just start with, I'm not to show what the data is showing, that the carnival industry is suffering. But besides that, I suppose where school launched in 2023 in April, so we're a few months old, and we are primarily focused on solidifying and making sure that the program that we have started with is working, so that we can continue to expand beyond, to your point, the IDB grants. That has given us a very solid start. However, from January, we start opening the program to the public for paid classes and workshops for both teens and adults. And we will be, as I said, continuing to expand our production services. And the ideal, of course, is to open several of these locations throughout the country and aspirationally throughout the region. So the intention is to continue to solidify the workforce to the point that we can manage a certain level of scale. Of course, the level of manufacturing that we can do in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, perhaps, is not necessarily going to compete with Asia. But we do think that we can corner certain markets that are small batch production for this part of the world because of the proximity we have to Latin America and the US.
Certainly. Mr. Yangchi, I want to thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for the work that you're doing to yourself and to Ms. Watley for the work that you're doing, not only in perhaps the economic shift, but also that level of social work and social activism, really uplifting women who are indeed vulnerable and giving them the skills, equipping them with the technical and practical skills, for life, essentially. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. All the very best. Ms. Anya Yangshi, co-founder of Spool, joining me on the program this morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple more minutes on this particular segment, so we can share some regional updates with you now as we look at what's taking place in Antigua and Barbuda in particular. Health Minister, the Honourable Sir Molwyn Joseph, says COVID-19 infections in Antigua and Barbuda are still being recorded. Now, that's not happening across many countries. The data of COVID-19 cases are not necessarily still being shared publicly because it's no longer considered a public health emergency, a global health emergency, or a pandemic for that fact. But let's take a look at this update from Antigua and Barbuda.
There has been a pause in the publication of COVID-19 dashboards for close to 2 years now, but Health Minister Honourable Sir Molwyn Joseph says his ministry is still conducting surveillance.
We have our epidemiology unit, and they're working every day tracking diseases in Antigua, not only COVID-19. And should there be any escalation in the numbers of COVID, you can be assured that we'll make it known to the public immediately. As a matter of fact, you would have noticed that we continue to encourage the public to practice proper defense, which is to hand washing and all the things, coughing etiquette and all those things. We never stopped.
The minister says there has been no alarming increase in the numbers.
Fortunately, we are not seeing any what you would call escalation in the numbers of COVID in Antigua and Barbuda. That has not been reported to me, and I believe, if I'm not hearing it from the epidemiology unit, that they are not experiencing any escalation in number of COVID cases.
The minister has again chastised those responsible for circulating a fake dashboard on the weekend.
There are people who have an interest in misrepresenting the realities of Antigua and Barbuda to cause alarm. And I want to say that those of you who fabricate information and put it out there, you might think you're doing the government some harm, but quite often you're doing the public harm. But I would like to take the opportunity to encourage the people of Antigua and Barbuda not to manipulate the circumstances in society that result in psychological, sociological harm, especially emotional harm to the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, COVID-19 cases are just popping up everywhere. Most recently, we got news coming out of the United Kingdom that the number of cases were rising. In fact, in some instances, there were cluster breakouts of COVID-19 cases there. But the news as it relates to such illnesses now that it's spreading, it's a new illness that is actually circulating in China. The World Health Organization has written to Chinese authorities asking for more details, more information on what is being described as a pneumonia-like illness. Now, according to the World Is One news network, it suggests that such cases as being seen in China, which is being described as mysterious, you're also seeing that now spreading to various parts of Europe as well as to the United States, well, the North American continent on a whole. So that is something that is being closely monitored, a new pneumonia-like illness coming. Well, it seems to be spreading very rapidly in China. Again, not much details, but the news that I'm aware of is that the World Health Organization has written to Chinese authorities seeking more information, and as I mentioned, the World Is One news network is reporting that such cases are being seen throughout the world right now. But let's get into another news update from Grenada, and this is actually a positive news update. We don't often get these. It's a nice news update to share with you, and it's referring to the very first mobile museum that was launched in Grenada as part of a Golden Jubilee celebrations. The museum encapsulates the history and heritage of Grenada and is designed for students across the country. So let's take a look at this from Grenada.
One people, one journey, one future. A reminder of this theme guiding Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. On Wednesday, the St. George's Anglican Senior School was the first to witness the official launch of the 50th anniversary mobile museum. The aim of the school's mobile museum is to foster a deeper appreciation among students of our country's history and heritage. Nigel DeGale, principal of the St. George's Senior School, in delivering remarks, proudly highlighted his school as the first learning institution on the island through which many prominently named individuals today began their educational journey.
Welcome to the St. George's Anglican Senior School, Heinze School, the primary school of Tubal Uriah's Buzz Butler, who was jailed in Trinidad for fighting for workers' rights, like Mandela, on an island for about 7 years. We remember Tubal Uriah's Buzz Butler, who was a student right here. We also remember architects of the revolution like Bernard Code, of course. We remember doctors like Beverly Nelson, Dr. Marisho and others. And of course, many of the outstanding sports people and politicians like Peter David come right down to Nigel DeGale. This school is a school of history.
Providing a better understanding on what the project is all about was Ms. Gail Purcell, head of Secretariat at the National Organizing Committee.
It's a unique traveling exhibition that will install in the schools, in our schools around the island. So you'll see one of them. They're around on the stage to the back of the auditorium. So the schools will have a display unit which will be installed in each school. And to better understand the mobile museum, for those who might be viewing outside, imagine the National Museum in your child's auditorium or assembly area. So basically, we're using a display unit to bring to you the history. We want children, we want our young people to immerse themselves in learning experiences of Grenada's beautiful culture and heritage. And we wanted to create something unique that wouldn't require children to always leave to go out of their school areas to experience it.
Purcell further explained the composition of the museum, what exactly students will be exposed to.
So the exhibit will have panel information on Grenada's pre-independence and post-independence periods. including discussions about our leaders. So you'll learn about your prime ministers, your governor generals, and some of our traditions and significant accomplishments that we've had over the years. So you students, you are encouraged to read and learn from the facts and narratives and share them. Don't just keep the information to yourself.
A rotation schedule will be formulated to have the museum move around from school to school. The mobile museum comprises 2 phases, already explained, and the second, which will be in a competition format between schools. Competing schools will be financially assisted by the Secretariat in developing their projects.
What a wonderful initiative. I wonder if we can have something like that here in Trinidad. I wonder. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break now on AM Prime.
Here is the WESN News on the Hour. I am Sarah Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. DNA breakthrough. Arrest made in Marvin Joseph murder case. A 29-year-old appeared in court charged with murder. A 24-year-old Manzalina man chopped. And internationally, WHO calls on countries to increase taxes on alcohol and sugary sweetened beverages. Now for the details. Investigators apprehend a suspect in the murder case of Marvin Goldie Joseph, utilizing DNA evidence. A report states that the victim's body was discovered near Lady Chancellor Hill on October 15th, dressed in women's clothing. Sources from the police verified that the arrest took place on Sunday, with the detained individual identified as a business firm from East Trinidad. A 29-year-old appeared in court charged with the murder of Nicholas Sampson, which occurred on September 30th, 2023. Adil Manzano, of no fixed place of abode, was charged with the offense when he appeared before the Port of Spain Magistrates Court on November 8th. The matter was adjourned to December 14th, 2023. Sampson, 32, of San Juan, was found with gunshot wounds at Mission Road on September 30th and was taken to hospital for treatment. He died shortly. One male suspect was arrested on November 7th by officers of the Homicide Bureau of Investigations, Region 2, in connection with the matter. Manzano was charged by WPC Sergeant, also of HBI Region 2, on November 8th. A 24-year-old man is warded in a serious condition at hospital after he was shot at his Manzanilla home. The victim was asleep at his Plum Road home around 2:15 a.m. on Monday when he was awakened by a strange noise. He then observed 2 men he did not know to be inside his bedroom, both armed with cutlasses. A struggle ensued, during which the victim was beaten and chopped repeatedly. The suspects then fled the scene. In international news, the World Health Organization is releasing new data that show a low global rate of taxes being applied to unhealthy products such as alcohol and sugary sweetened beverages. Globally, 2.6 million people die from drinking alcohol every year and over 8 million from an unhealthy diet. Implementing tax on alcohol and SSBS will reduce these deaths. Well, that's it. News on the Hour on WESN. I am Sarah Ali. Thank you for watching.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Is it politics? What is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you do now, Andy.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website, fanzonett.com, to make your purchase today.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. It's my favorite time of the week. It's Wild Wednesdays, and hopefully we have no bad words coming out my mouth this morning. But I've been promised that I'm going to get peed on. Seems as though we haven't even started this segment, and I'm wondering whether or not I want to do this. Anyway, Ricardo Mead is not with us this morning. In fact, he has sent some better looking, better sounding, and probably some more gentle individuals to deal with. And I'm not speaking about my furry guest. I'm speaking about Donna Karim and Celicia Asghar Ali Mead of the El Socorro Center for Wildlife Conservation. And again, right now I'm wondering, can we get a close-up of that, please? Take the camera off me for a second. Look at that. That thing, which is very, very beautiful when the cage is closed, very calm, very, very calm and beautiful. It's a black-haired manicoot. So enough of me talking, more of me looking at my soul, and welcome Don and Celicia. Hi, guys.
Hi, good morning. Hi, morning.
How are you guys doing?
Great. Very good, very good.
So, I think I would have preferred if Celicia sat next to me because she has something to do. Donna, who is this furry, beautiful creature? It's also rather scary looking that you've brought with us.
So, this is our black-haired opossum. His name is Marvin. So we just fed him, so he's ready to nap. So he's a bit grumpy that, you know, we have to wake him up after his nap to be here this morning. But we have another smaller specimen that's less aggressive right now and less moody.
Yeah, quite frankly, smaller specimen looks like a good friend. You see, Marvin, it's Marvin, right? Yeah.
Yes, this one is Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin, you sure you fed him?
Oh yeah, we fed him. We fed him. His belly is full. He's ready for his nap now.
Thank God you fed him. So these are black-haired manicous, which, to be honest with you, I don't see much often. Huh? You see, I'm saying manicoot, forgive me, black-haired opossum, local term manicoot. You see a lot of opossums or manicous all over, but not necessarily these guys. Why is that?
Well, actually, they're nocturnal, so maybe when they come out, you don't see them. They usually come out, I would say, like 11 to 3 a.m. That's their peak time. That's when they walk about because they grub at that time. They come out, they eat grubs. They can even rifle in trash, actually. That's why they're kind of a pest. They would eat roadkill, small mammals, anything they can get, birds, reptiles. But they're mainly nocturnal. So to see them, you have to be out at night.
But hold on, so they're not herbivores, they're omnivores. They eat both meat and...
Well, that's actually, only 10% of their diet is actually fruit.
Really?
Only 10%. 90% of it is meat-based. So meat, like I said, mammals and grubs.
And yet you brought him here.
He's well fed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What do you guys actually feed Marvin?
So we feed him chicken, and we also feed him mealworms, and he gets occasionally a pawpaw or a mango and mango. He loves mango. He will literally like suck that mango dry to the point where the seed is ready to like crack open. Mango is his favorite fruit.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, fine. Fair enough, we have something in common. What's that little cute, I don't want to say male or female, I can't guess at this point.
So this little one is a girl. Donna can show you a little closer. Her pouch.
Oh, hello.
So we tend to look at them and say, oh, that's a big rat. Actually, no, she's a marsupial, just like the kangaroos.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look lower below, you'll see her pouch there, right? And manicous, when they make the young, they're born like the size of your fingernail, and then they crawl out of the vagina. They go into the pouch where they can stay up to 2 months.
Very much similar to kangaroos, yeah.
Yes, and they attach to teeth until they're able to come out, and then they come on their mother's back.
Okay, and how long usually would the young stay with the mother?
It can be several months, up to a year sometimes. But how it works is that as the mother grubs, as they get older, they would come off and eat and go back on the mom until eventually they're good enough to fall off and go on their own. So it's, it can depend on the animal itself. So when they are ready to leave mom, they leave mom.
Oh, wow. Now, taking a look at this young little lady here, and Marvin, I know that there's an age difference and a size difference, of course, but the teeth that we're seeing on Marvin, would she have that as well?
No, he has that because he's a boar. The male get those long intestines. So this long incisors there.
So you refer to him as a boar? You refer to him as a boar then?
Yeah.
Wow, are they territorial?
They can be, but they're solitary animals, so very rarely would they interact with one another like that. If they're fighting, the males, it would be for females or territory.
Now, again, do we have a name for this lady? Is it?
No, this lady is going to be released. She was just brought to show people how very adorable they are.
She is extremely adorable.
Yes, she is.
Very, very, hello. You seem a little nervous. That's okay. But when are you going to release her though? Because she seems so small. Is she ready to go back on her own?
Yes, she is. At that size, she is.
How old is she?
She would be about what?
2 months?
About 2 or 3 months, yeah.
2 months? So they start off the size of your finger or small, and then in 2 months, wow.
Well, we would have had them for 2 months. She came in already with her eyes open with her siblings because they killed the mother. And only when they killed the mother, they saw the babies in the pouch. So they called us, we collected the animals, and we've had them for the 2 months. So they are older than 2 months. I would say maybe 4 or 5.
How many calls have you guys been getting during this particular hunting season with cases like this?
I would say out of hunting season, in hunting season, during hunting season, all year round there. Because manicous, they breed throughout the year. And we get a lot of calls of people hurting the animals, especially the moms, and then when they kill the animal, they realize the animal has babies. So we actually had an instance a couple of months ago where someone actually hit a mom with a piece of iron on her head. And I'm not sure of the circumstances, but the animal ended up in our hands with mom and the babies, and she was just too, like, she was incapable of taking care of her babies.
She was lucky to be alive.
And then, and because the babies were so small, they actually need to be a certain weight for us to tube feed them, because that's how we rehab babies when they come in and their eyes aren't open. Their passageway is so small and so tiny. The feeding tube is like literally, what's the size of the feeding tube? Like
0.5 mm.
Yeah, that's really small. So that we usually feed them formula, pull it up in a syringe and send that syringe all the way from their mouth. Make sure it gets all the way to their tummy here. And that's how we feed them. So we had to do that when mom came in because she was unable to, well actually no, she fed them for a while, but we was unable to medicate mom or give her any medication. Because she was breastfeeding still and the babies was too small to take from her. Yeah. So we had to wait. Only about, what, 2 weeks we left them with her, and we took the babies, and mom eventually recovered. She made a great recovery. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we would call that one of our miracle cases.
No, well, based on what you've described, certainly. Yeah. But, I mean, in the first instance, people will look at this and think, oh my God, it's a huge rat. That's the reaction, if we're being realistic. It's a huge rat, it's a pest, get out of the way, get out. Oh. Why are these creatures important to the environment?
Well, they do eat ticks And that helps us because it prevents Lyme disease. And they also help control, like I said, all the insects and everything. Everything works in nature with a balance. So they also eat roadkill or carrion. So they help, they are the recyclers then.
So
they help us, they help balance everything.
But the first thing that some people, when they come across it, is to either jump or scream, or in some cases, as we've already heard, bring a pot.
Yeah.
But you could just leave this creature alone. This creature is not going to attack you.
No, it's not.
I know you
this
said
animal is
11 to 3,
really not aggressive. What this animal will do, if backed into a corner, it may hiss at you, and it's trying to tell you to leave it alone so that it can run away, but it will not attack you. They don't act like that. And it's really unfortunate that this animal is also on the vermin list. Now, we have a problem with that because the center had sent in, using the Freedom of Information Act, to find any data on why this animal was put on the vermin list. Our response was that there is no scientific data. So this animal was put on the vermin list with no science to back it up. So year-round, people are allowed to kill this animal with no checks, no balances. So what that means is that we're putting an extreme pressure on this species.
So we don't even actually fully know how many of these guys are left.
No, we don't know what numbers are left, and no one really cares. And the sad thing is about it is if we leave things the way they are, and people are allowed to kill them willy-nilly like they are right now, we stand a chance of losing the animal altogether.
That is really sad, and it's on the vermin list without even stating why. But I'm also taking a look at the anatomy. I mean, apart from those big ears.
It's so cute, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. The tail, and I forgot the tune.
Yeah.
I forgot the tune.
It's a prehensile
Prehensile tail. Yeah.
So yeah, they use that tail for climbing. See how strong that tail is?
That is incredible. It looks like pure muscle.
Oh yeah.
It's incredibly strong because they are arboreal in nature, so they do climb trees. And because they eat fruits, they would climb trees to go.
Well, if it's one thing I've realized is that these creatures actually have... Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to harm you.
She's just a little skittish. She's
I know,
scared.
you can tell, you can see. But if it's one thing too, these creatures have incredible balance. The way I've seen some of them crawling on...
on like wires and stuff. Yeah.
It's rather incredible. But I know you said from... As I mentioned earlier, between the hours of 11 and 3, it's really when they would come out.
Yeah, those are peak hours.
But those are also peak hours for some of Trinidad's other creatures, if you know what I mean. So there are people who are intentionally and actively looking for these animals. And, you know, there's a wildlife season, a hunting season that is involved. But there are no regulations for that either.
No.
So, again, it comes back to whether or not we are doing more damage than anything else.
Exactly.
Are we confusing control with damage here in TNT?
We are. And the thing is, we don't have proper regulations in place and we don't have the enforcers. It's all well and good to have policies in place, but if there's no one to enforce those policies, it really doesn't mean much.
Anyway, so apart now from that hissing, are there any other defense mechanisms? Because I thought, I was told that there's a possibility I might get peed on this morning.
Oh,
I'm glad that hasn't happened.
The pee and the poop is really a defense mechanism. They pee and poop to scare you away because the smell of the pee and the poop, no animal wants to eat that. So it's like, okay, a dog or a bird of prey comes to eat him, I'm just going to pee and poop all over myself so I don't smell good, and the animal will be like, oh, this tastes awful, and he's going to get away.
Guys, as I said it when we had this fight on, I do this because I really care about y'all and I want to educate y'all. I'm putting myself in these positions just for you. But, nevertheless, how many species of opossum do we have here in TNT?
I believe it's three.
Oh, okay.
So the black-eared opossum, the Robinson mouse opossum, and the last one.
Bare-tailed woolly
opossum, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've seen the bearded woolly opossum.
Yeah, that I think out of the three, that one is probably, I've hardly seen that.
No.
That's probably one of the
that
rarest
came
one.
into the center, I think 2 years ago, and that was the first time I saw one. But I do see the Robinson mouse opossum often.
Yeah, the Robinson mouse opossum, they actually like to, they're very smaller than these guys. They like to nest in those green fig patches, the banana patches.
Oh, okay.
That's the easiest place to find them.
Yeah, they love you, and their nest literally looks like a bird nest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, I've seen quite a few because of, you know, where I grew up and you know, where my parents lived. There are quite a few of these opossums crawling around all over the place. The thing is that they look like a much grayer, more charcoal color than that light brown, golden bronze color. You know, so that's why I'm just wondering if I'm just seeing a young black-eared opossum or...
He should be a little darker in color, but I think it's really because he's pampered. His diet isn't as varied also. So what even though we supplement it, in the wild the other ones would be grubbing a lot more. But because he was raised at the center and he's unreleasable because he ended up, someone had him for too long. So unfortunately for him, he's too friendly.
Really? Too friendly? Donnie, you want to do that thing you were doing again?
No, believe it or not, he's trying to bite her, right? But if somebody goes up to him and holds him by his tail and thing, he's really, really calm. So
I was just like playing with him outside. I don't know.
she had him all in her hand outside.
He's just not like having it this morning. Yeah.
You see, he has his moods. So right now he's pretty angry, but he comes out and you can hold him.
Yeah.
But we can't let him go because as aggressive as he looks now, someone will come up and hold him fairly easily, and they will kill him.
Well, that is rather sad.
We like Donna said, she lets him go at the center, and he goes around and he grabs in the center, but we can't trust to let him out in a while. He'll fall easy prey.
I've actually had the opportunity to see Donna work at the center, and boy oh boy, talk about hardworking. It was incredible, just going non-stop, every single animal, really. At some point I was jealous because I was hoping I was getting lunch, but I didn't get anything. And then I heard Celicia is the individual who really is up at night and even during the day, and even when it comes to the meal rooms and the rearing and breeding of such. Like, you're the on-hands person. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to bother you, sorry. You're really the on-hands person. We have some really two hardworking ladies here at the center, which brings us to the next part of this program, and that is the event that is taking place this Sunday. Forgive us, Ricardo and I were getting the dates confused last week. We couldn't make up our mind, you know?
It's Sunday, this Sunday, 10th of December, at Presal Secondary School. We're having our Wild Safari Christmas. We plan to make it very exciting. A lot of local animals will be interactive. We'll have food, drinks, we'll have a photo booth. It'll be fun. Whole family fun.
Oh, I certainly look forward to it. Is Marvin going to be there?
Of course.
Of course he will.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully he'll be more friendly that day.
Yeah,
he's having a bit of a bad day today.
Why is that? You guys didn't give him any mangoes, that's why.
I think it's because we fed him outside. He just wants to sleep.
Well, I'm looking forward to Sunday so you can come out and support the center and support the cause and the initiatives that the center is pushing throughout the country. But just remember, it's only $20. It's only $20 entry, and there's a lot taking place there. It's going to be an incredible setup. And listen, if ever you've seen a wildlife event in TNT, it's nothing compared to what you're going to experience on Sunday. In fact, I've already been given hints as to what you can expect. And I've also already been hinted as to how much is going to go into this and what it's going to take out to these two ladies. So if we don't see them next week, we understand. They might be hibernating at that point. But guys, thank you so much for... My last question though is do these, like, would he by chance attack her? Like, try to kill her? Because I realized that she was crawling on the cage. I know he's in a bit of a mood, but you kept pulling her back.
Yes, because we're not sure how he will react to her, especially how he's in a little bit of a bad mood. And like I said, they can be territorial over their space. So we don't want her to invade his space and he gets grumpy and want to bite her. So it's just about keeping her safe, and we don't want anything happen to this little girl before she goes back out to the wild to fulfill her purpose in our environment.
I like how you said that, fulfill her purpose in our environment. Yeah, good luck to you guys. And Marvin...
He'll be in a better mood Sunday.
He will be in a better mood on Sunday. But I've also been told that I'm going to be given the opportunity to hold a tarantula. Yes. We look forward to that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, always a pleasure. I'm so glad we're able to do this, and thank you guys for the opportunity and the privilege, the generosity, and the time in coming to do this every Wednesday. Tell Ricardo that it was nice giving me a break from all the shenanigans. And guys, best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for AM Prime. And well, Wild Wednesday, you'll see us again next week. But I'm Keaton Shaw, wishing you a safe day ahead, a productive day ahead. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
W.
Have a content. Christmas is still here. Ho ho, the Christmas shows each week for all to see. Movie classics wait for you and the local content for free. Have a content capital Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a content capital Christmas this year.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers? Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation,